Greetings! I am Barrett Marjorie, and I'm studying to be a librarian at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. Have you ever been told that you couldn't read a book that you really want to read? Well, the American Library Association believes that you have a freedom to read whatever you want to read, no matter how young or how old you are. And I, as a librarian, am going to make sure that teenagers have the right to read. Censors all over the country are coming out with challenges to books for all kinds of different reasons, though. And I'm going to share with you today 3 really great books that you really might choose to read. But these 3 books have been banned in one part of the country or another. And I will explain to you why these books have been banned or challenged. And then you can decide for yourself if you'd like to read them. The first book is A Day No Pigs Would Die, written by Robert Newton Peck in 1972. This book was actually being used in classrooms all over the country before the censors even found out about it. When they did, it was probably due to some of the experiences that the farm animals had to undergo in the book. But the story is of a 12-year-old boy named Robert who lives in a Shaker family in Vermont during the middle 1920s. Shakers, by the way, are plain people. They live with no frills. For they live off of the land. They farm animals and they farm vegetables, and they live off of agriculture rather than going to the grocery store like we do. And they, of course, don't go to shopping malls, and they usually don't take conventional transportation as we do. So, Robert is very delighted on the day that he births a young calf and simultaneously rescues the mother cow by getting a goiter out of her neck. The farmer who owns the calf subsequently gives Robert a gift, which is a baby pig all of his own. Robert immediately names the pig Pinky, and he becomes his best friend. Pinky and Robert even sleep together in the barn some nights when it's cold. Robert has to grow up during the course of this year. He does get to take Pinky to a livestock fair and show Pinky in a competition. As well as at that fair, he shows the 2 calves of the farmer. That farmer has really admired Robert ever since he rescued the calves at the beginning of the book. However, through the course of the story, Robert has to grow up very much. You see him maturing from a younger 12-year-old into a 13-year-old, ready to take on the challenges of manhood. His father grows ill and the family endures some hardships, and at the end, eventually Robert has to make a decision that really proves how much of a man he can be. Read it for yourself. You'll see. The second book I'd like to talk about today is The Day They Came to Arrest the Book. This book was censored on many different levels. It was written in 1982. Judy Blume, herself a controversial author of young adult novels, says in the book, banned in the USA, that the censors started coming out after her books big time in the 1980s. That's exactly when this book, written by Nat Hentoff, was published, 1982. The subject content of this book is about censorship itself. A book, a classic book by Mark Twain, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, comes under surveillance in the George Mason High School. A very vibrant librarian, Deirdre Fitzgerald, and the American history teacher, Nora Baines, come together to defend the book, along with their 2 students, Luke and Barney, who feel very strongly about keeping the book in the curriculum. It's being challenged by an African-American parent who believes that the book is demeaning to African Americans, that the language used in it is insensitive, and that young black students should not have to undergo the language in this book. At the same time, a good friend of Luke and Barney's, named Kate, opposes the book because of its negative portrayals of women. So, the school has to go through a large review process, which is typical when books are censored anyway. The school board adopts a review committee, and official undertakings are made so that a decision is made, the best decision about whether the book can stay in the library and on the shelves. At the same time as this book is undergoing controversy, it comes out in the public media that the principal has been quietly and underhandedly removing books from the library with the former librarian's tacit permission. However, she's not there anymore. He has not even been undertaking the review board's official procedures. He's been removing the books sneakily. This comes out all in print with the help of Luke and Barney, who happens to work on the school newspaper. So not only is the book Huckleberry Finn under review, but the principal is under review as well. Eventually, the school board and the review committee have to tackle whether Huck Finn can remain on the shelves. And you will have to read it to see whether that happens. But many social and moral and ethical questions are tackled in this book, such as, can students make informed decisions over language or content matter in their book based on their own developing knowledge and wisdom? Or should adults decide that students cannot handle this and take the books away? Can language used in a demeaning way be demeaning, even if the author is using it in a social context or in a way that is demonstrated to show how language was used? Typically during that time period. Mark Twain, for example, probably didn't even mean for African Americans to be denigrated in the book Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. He may have just been making a point as to how language was shown that day and how Huckleberry Finn and his friend Jim had a very outstanding friendship no matter what the language was. At any rate, many complex issues arise over that. Well, the third book is one that I think you would really like. It's been highly challenged many years, and especially on the top 10 list of ALA's most challenged books in 2006 and 2007. The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. This is the story of Charlie. He starts out being a loner. He's a freshman in high school who starts out being a loner. He has also lost his best friend to suicide just months before. But during the course of this year, he undergoes some great developments. He makes true friendship with a young gay male student and a young female who he eventually falls in love with. Along with these friendships, Charlie gets to experience dating for the very first time. He also has to come to grips with some traumatic past experiences in his own life. There are many different reasons that the censors had for this book. For one, the sexuality in the book. For two, the positive portrayal of the gay best friend of Charlie. And third, some domestic violence. And fourth, the usage of drugs by Charlie and his friends. Although, in the case of the drugs, Charlie definitely realizes that it was a mistake and he will never do that again. It makes him feel so awful. Well, The Perks of Being a Wallflower is controversial, but I believe it's a must-read for all young adult students. It has been compared as a coming-of-age tale to The Catcher in the Rye and A Separate Peace in the USA Today. You can catch more titles of banned books on the American Library Association website, worldwideweb.ala.org. Also, see if your high school or middle school has a banned books week. That is when your teachers and librarians celebrate banned books, and you'll be able to see a lot more choices and decide for yourself what you want to read. These books should be celebrated for the courage of the authors who wrote them, and you should enjoy them. So, celebrate your freedom to read. Thank you.